Oh, I'm Sean, you're watching Hacking Patina, and I just realized we haven't had this old gal out in the wild in quite a bit. It's been tucked in the garage, cold, dark, doing some upgrades to it, but it's getting out. We've got a little work to do on this. I just realized when I was underneath it yesterday that we got some wetness, like a soggy diaper, hanging out at the bottom of this thing. Tells you one thing. You could trace that probably back up to the water pump, but we're gonna take a look at that, see what's going on. But I wanted to get the metal warmed up, the sun shining on that thing, get it out, enjoy the fresh air with it. Now that I've got a little bit of brakes on that rear side of it, we can actually scoot it around a little more safely and get it outdoors. Come on in, let's get up close. Let's dig into getting this water pump replaced. I'm also going to be replacing this hose because it's a little wore. Got a little wear out here, and you can start seeing the spring inside there. So we're going to be replacing this too. Let's dig in, get this done. Let's drain some fluids. We don't need to drain it all, but let's see how much of this we can catch and reuse. Fill up the bucket. Let's loosen up the generator so we can get the belt off, because we got to take off the fan. Pop this fan. Put those in my pocket so I don't lose them. That's probably good on the fluids. I don't know. Don't know how much I'm gonna need. Okay, we'll keep the hose clamps. All right. Ooh, thankfully that one broke free. Oh, we got lucky there. Nice. So far, so good. The last one, you know, the last one's always the booger. The last one can always be the booger. Let's remove this other hose so I have access to that better. I don't want to risk stripping that out or anything. Oh, I meant to drop the wrench into the bucket of antifreeze. That's not ready to go. It's obviously not drained far enough. Oh boy. Into the bucket of antifreeze. I meant to do that. Whoops. Let's take this end off and see if we can't guide it to the bucket. Let's just guide it over to the bucket. Yep, there we go. Right in the bucket. Just like we wanted to. Alright, let's pop this last one off here. Nice, it came loose. We're golden. We are golden. So, the Weephole was the problem. What do we know about Weepholes? Why do we have Weepholes on water pumps? When and why? Okay. The why part of that, from my understanding, is it serves two purposes. First purpose, under production and under design, engineering design, it has become, it's the path of least resistance. When that shaft seal goes bad, when seals go bad inside that water pump, that Weephole was engineered to be the path of least resistance, meaning the fluid would drain out of that Weephole instead of into your bearings, flushing the grease out of your bearings. And then what happens when your bearings don't have any grease any longer? Big problem there, right? Now your water pump locks up, your fan flies off your pulleys, and you just fouled your engine up nicely. So they resolved it mechanically there by providing a path of least resistance. And then the secondary part of that is the visual inspection. So when it does go bad, you can start identifying a leakage before it causes catastrophic damage. Alright, so that was kind of the two main purpose of it. The when did they start putting Weepholes in? Was, I think, in the 30s. I'm not mistaken, I have to go back and check that up and do my history of it, but I think it started coming out in the early 1930s. Ooh, look at that. What do you think about that? It's probably a good thing. Good thing we're replacing that. It's had its day. It served its purpose. That's for sure. Not too bad in there. We gotta scrape that old gasket off. Let's dry that up. So the sealant, little gasket sealant will seal. Okay, we'll just set that in there and let that suck it up for a little bit. Okay, there's the engine block number. Let's see if we can't get that to clean up a little bit. Fun fact, it's a common misconception that the 3J prefix was used only for the CJ3As from around 1949 to 1953-ish. But in reality, Willys continued the 3J engine numbering sequence for the DJ-3A dispatcher line well into the 1950s and early 60s because they were the only Jeeps still using the L-head engine. Civilian CJs had switched to the F-head Hurricane engine by this point. All right. Now, these bolts are water bolts. Okay, into the water jacket, I believe. Maybe not. I thought they were, but I don't think they are actually. Open holes. Oh, that's nice. I thought they were. I'm gonna double check that. Okay. Let's see if these are actually open holes. No, that was not open. That was not an open hole. That was not open. That was not open. Alright, I thought maybe one of these was an open. Cool. So we're going to use a copper anti-seize, 15, what is it? Rated for 1800 Fahrenheit. We're going to put a little of that on the bolts, feed those through, call it good, okay? We've got our new water pump. It's sprayed up, cleaned up. Okay. There's the water, the new water pump. There's the Weephole. Okay. That's to save those bearings. That's the path of least resistance. So it's gonna sit on here like this. You got heater plugs. We're just going to plug those in this case. And there's the Weephole at the bottom. All right, that protects your bearings. So if your seal for those bearings in there starts to go bad, and they will over time, this is your indicator. You'll start getting a little droplets of water coming out of there, and it goes to the outside of the engine instead of washing the grease out of those bearings and destroying your engine on you. Okay, so pay attention to those Weepholes. Okay, that's going to pop in like so. It all lines up. Let's put in the plugs that came in the package. Okay. It came with a couple plugs. Let's seal that up, and that's actually, I'm going to put some sealant on those. I just got this Venom pipe thread sealant. Let nothing escape. Soft set with PTFE. Okay, let's see. Let's give this a try, mix it up. Okay. Let's get this assembled. Get those plugs in. Okay, they're in. I'll tighten them up once we get this installed. The water pump came with a gasket. Part number 17104.01. And let's just check this gasket. All right, that lines up. Let's just smear a little bit of number 2 on there. Okay, it doesn't have to be a bunch. Let's just put enough on there to get our fingers nice and crusted up. Get this stuff deep in the pores of your skin. That's all we really want to do. Just put a little there, both sides. I don't need it to be gooing out. All right, that'll stick on there. Gotta wipe this stuff off my fingers before it dries. All right, let's feed the first one here. Nice, that looks beautiful on there, doesn't it? Dang, that's like factory right there. Two. Three. And there's 4 go in there. Woo, it's hot. Man, I'm a little overdressed. The wife said this morning, Sean, I don't think you need your base layers on because it's pretty warm out there. Well, sure enough. And it's hot. It is hot. It's the beginning of February. I think it's February 1st. And I can't find the lid. I don't know what I just did with the lid to that sealant. But it's not here right now. All right, let's tighten those up. I painted this water pump yesterday, by the way, guys, just to pre-stage or pre-prep this. I didn't want the the default color on this, so that's why it's black. Who knows? Who can quickly tell me what the torque spec is for this water pump? Come on, you gurus. Tell me what it is. 12 to 17. We're going to set it to 15. 12 to 17 is a torque spec. Not as much as you think it would be. Doesn't take, you don't have to crank these down, fellas. How many of you guys knew that? I know you did. I know it's right built into your memory. It's not mine. I had to look it up. Not something I recited to memory. Bolt torque specs. I got other things to remember. I got this set to 15. Okay. What do you think? Moving on? We got to tighten up these. Okay, hose. Let's hook up that bottom hose. Gotta close that peacock valve before I forget that on the bottom of the radiator. Or we'll be filling it up and it'll just be coming right back out on us. How many of you done that before? Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you've done that. Alright, the fan. Let's put the fan on. Hopefully I got the bolts still in my pocket. Might as well slip this fan blade on there, or let's put this on there, you know? A guy can do it kind of right when you have it all tore apart. You can get in there. You can get in there. Get it done kind of right. You know, you don't have to fight it around the fan. You don't need to. Alright, I got my bolts in the pocket. Gotta reach over and under and around. Guys, I'm hot. I am hot. I should be taking off a layer, but I'm not. It's February. It should be freezing cold. I feel like I'm just gonna sweat it out a little bit. Get the last sweat in. I'm gonna get the last sweat going on here. Before the next freeze comes. Well, let's go. Get on there. Just get started for me. I'm up on my tiptoes. That's funny. Let's step around the bumper. Okay, just one more. And the pocket trick worked. Well, I usually put stuff in my pocket, but it actually worked. Okay, Let's hit that up. Tighten up the belt. Don't over tighten it. You don't want to just tear apart the bearings by having too much tension on that belt. Okay. The peacock. Remember I said let's make sure we tighten up the peacock down there. Okay. Top tube. Hopefully this one I got fits. Nope, it doesn't. Sure doesn't. Lovely. It's got too big of an opening right here. Well, shoot. 52418. I gotta change that. Let's put the old one back on there for now. Let's just go ahead and use the old one. Guess I can get the part number off this. Oh, darn. I was hoping I could get that resolved today. But just not gonna happen. Not gonna happen today. So hopefully it doesn't come apart on us. It lasts a little longer. Darn. You know, sometimes you like to just finish up these jobs in one swoop. Now, where's the hose clamp? What did I do with the hose clamp for you? Nope, you're not in the antifreeze bucket. So where did you go? You've got to be sitting here, right in here somewhere. Aha! Aha! You decided to scoot way up under there on me. Guess you wanted to get out of the sun. I don't blame you. So somebody sent me in the comments what part number for this upper radiator hose I need, if you don't mind. Okay, because the one I got doesn't belong. How many of you guys remember that show? Which one of these things looks like, which one of these things don't look like the other? How many of you grew up watching that cartoon? Oh boy. Which one? I don't think you can play that nowadays. I think you find yourself in some trouble if we played some of the cartoons we grew up with. Now, you find yourself in a whole heap of trouble. Alright guys, I think we got this set up. Water pump replaced. Unfortunately, we didn't get to change out this line. But we'll get to it. I'm ready to fire this up. Let's go back and add in the cube juice here. So we got the bolts in, fitted, fan, belt on, water pump belt. Everything's torqued. Let's add the cube, some antifreeze here. I don't have much more on the shelf, so we're going to do a little mix of each. What I have left, which is just a swig. That was just a swig. And the stuff I already had, which, you know, it was fairly new already. Whoops. Whoops. Whoopsie. I'd flushed this already before a couple times, so let's just reuse this for now. Let's clean up the house a little bit. All right. Fire in the hole. Guess we should get out there and look. Let's get rid of some of the water that sits in these plugs. That's a lot to ask to boil out of there before it weeps in there. This thing purrs quietly and nicely. The little rattly here is the heat riser there. I'm not seeing any leaks. Alright, it's already got a new thermostat. We already changed the thermostat. It's got a 160-degree thermostat in it. I think we're ready to go scoot. Let's do it. Let's go scoot. Let's go. Let's go scooter. Test the water pump. I can't drive this for very long because we do have that exhaust that comes right in here. Down to first. We do have somewhat some decent brakes. Boy, I just need to get that exhaust figured out so I can sit in this more than a couple minutes. Successfully I think we did it, guys. We successfully changed the water pump. Thanks for watching. We got this 58 DJ-3A water pump replaced. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this Southern Colorado 1st of February day. Spend some time with the family. Keep watching. We got some more work that needs to be done on this. We gotta get the front brakes finished up. Appreciate you watching. If you haven't subscribed, it sure does help out. Take care. Thanks for watching Hacking Patina. Talk to you later.